there hasn't really been the American group that took the baton and moved it forward. Um, I think hip hop is actually at a point where rock was then, where okay, there was this big explosion. Yeah, there's all this creativity and all this interestingness, and then where is it now?
Mm-hmm. Good
And your
question.
top acts now in hip hop are, I mean, Drake is known for, basically being in a room with somebody for a couple hours and then coming out talking like him and stealing,
Stealing his stuff.
dubstep and dance hall and reggaeton and trying to bring in all these things, which is cool. But hip hop as a genre itself, the well is seems drying. It seems like we're fracking, and it seems like
Ooh.
and and like it seems like with rock we fracked and the well went dry.
Oh my God, we're in like I don't know, whatever you get to when you get past the lowest level of fracking, when you go to some other dimension or something like H.G. Wells, like I don't know,
Sure.
because well, in terms of so in terms of the mainstream sort of mass appeal stuff, I would say yes. There's a lot of sort of self cannibalizing in both of these forms. Like they are just reaching back and redigesting their existing vocabulary and just drawing from that, almost like both forms of music mainstream wise are just almost like undead. They're like zombified.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like Cypress Hill just did recently, like last year, in 2024, a Tiny Desk NPR concert, and they just did something with a symphony orchestra too,
Yeah.
which I'm all about. I mean, Sir Mix-a-Lot did something with
Yeah.
a symphony orchestra in the 90s. I mean, I'm all about that. That shit is cool. But it's like, well, okay, are we really going to keep this facade going that this is like super underground stuff? I mean, this, like you're saying, if you were growing up in the 90s or even in your 20s in the 90s like I was, you're just perfectly put, you're bathed in the vernacular of hip hop. So then these motherfuckers come along
Mm-hmm.
and start to redefine our sense of boundaries around music in this really pure, like, oh well, that's I am. And it's like, why, what is the point of that? And if we tie this back to Jonathan Haidt, why have we become a Puritan, or why are we why have we become a Puritan culture with respect to music, or why are our Puritan roots just exploding on our faces like an acne problem over music in this way? Because I think the Puritanism has always been there in American culture, just ticking away, right? This is just another expression of it. But where is this coming from? Even to the point where, like, now, how many years into Fat Joe's career? How many years into Fat Joe's career is he only now being taken to task because he says nigga?
Mm-hmm.
And now, it was a big thing, maybe about a month ago or something, like, and it's like, all right, what are we doing here? Why are we combing through? And to that end, if we're going to disparage whiteness as much as the people in my line of work love to do, they love doing that, and we're going to fetishize and exalt blackness in this way that I think is really destructive. I mean, we're overlooking the fact that, sorry, once you get into the mid 70s, rock is white, and it's wanted. Like, it's not wanted where I grew up, other than from a few people who are just exceptions. It's not even like we don't have access to this music because of racism. We don't fucking want that music. Like, you were probably an exception in your neighborhood listening to rock.
Without a doubt. Like, yeah, I was, and my brother was. There was a lot of gospel, a little bit of jazz, not much.
Very little, I'm sure.
Um, Tons of hip hop, a little bit of pop. You're very big, top end, like you heard the Spice Girls everywhere. Like it was like there's no, you heard of bop.
Yeah.
You but it was not bop was sort of, on the outside, and just, in my neighborhood.
That's awesome. That's so funny. That's so funny. I mean,
It's fascinating. I mean, because some of us, most people don't know. Like I grew up in a housing project most of my childhood, and uh, and I remember walking through and hearing "Wannabe," and like I don't know, was it 96, 97? I'm walking through the courtyard to the house from the basketball courts, and I'm hearing "Wannabe," and I'm like, that's different.
wow.
There are just some stuff that crosses over. And
Sure.
there was always a song or two or maybe three a year that did. And Wannabe was certainly one of them.
Did you play basketball?
Poorly.
Okay, but you still tried.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm a black man. It's a requirement.
How much shit did you get for not being very good at it?
A lot.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I remember somebody, this guy, who friend of mine from college, or when I was in college, he played guitar. He's like, "You're from the Bronx and you don't play basketball?" I was like, "Yes, I don't play basketball." But see, what did your brother turn you on to? What groups was he rocking? What rock music was he into?
He loved Buddy Holly.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
Yeah. He loved Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay.
He loved BB King. He was the first person to play the Wallflowers for me. He had their first album before they blew.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So he was sort of he loved he didn't love 80s rock so much. He loved Dylan. He loved or I'm trying to think of the other one. They died in a plane crash.
They
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner? No, that's not what you're talking about.
No, he loved Skinner too.
Okay.
And
okay.
I've come to love Skinner as
I
I've
do
gotten
too.
older. It's just like there's something that's infectious about them. But they're not who I mean.
Stevie
Allman
Ray
Brothers
Vaughan-
was on his list.
Okay.
But his go-to was Jimmy, and
Okay.
Jimmy and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay. Right, because Stevie Ray Vaughan loved Jimi Hendrix to death.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan died in a helicopter crash. I don't know
Okay.
if that's so. And then Buddy Holly died in a plane crash.
Maybe I'm confusing. I might be.
You may be, or there might be another one that I don't know of. Who, and then Skinner.
Elvis Costello was on his list too. He was a big Elvis Costello dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's similar to my brother. Definitely was not into rock music, but these older guys were like older brothers to me, and I had already found this stuff on my own, and then they introduced me to other stuff. And I mean, I always tell this story. The same guy that introduced me to Jimi Hendrix also introduced me to the Sex Pistols, to Eddie Palmieri, the Latin percussion player, and Max Roach, the jazz drummer. Cool. The same guy. And that guy also introduced me to Rush and Motley Crue.
Wow.
So that's just gives you a sense of where we were. Another, like his best friend on my block, they're about the same age. That dude introduced me to Depeche Mode, Steely Dan, brought Public Enemy to our block. It was the first one to rock a Public Enemy album, and introduced me to Straight Outta Compton.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's a mix.
And almost all of us loved the shit out of Rush.
Yeah. Well, Uh, it's when I think of Rush, I think giant. You know what I mean? I think stadium. I think big, big, overwhelming, immersive sound.
Not so much stadiums here, but they were an arena rock act that was on the radio. By the time I was, you get to 1984, I'm 11 or going on 12.
Yeah.
And when 84, 85 is when my friend Wilson Rodriguez, I've mentioned him many times in other places because I was standing in the doorway of my mother's the apartment I grew up in, and he was there with his Walkman, and he put the headphones on my head and played me Tom Sawyer. And because I was like super into Van Halen, which I still am, and he was like, okay, that's great. He liked Van Halen too. He's like, but just listen to this. I will never forget that moment in my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally put headphones on my head, press play, and instantly I was like, oh shit, you know.
You had a
And
literal Garden State moment.
yes, if you must put it in the hate, and I don't like that fucking "I love you, man" shit either. I hate that stuff. I'm really uptight about shit like that. Can't stand "I love you, man" and all that nonsense. But yes, for all intents and purposes, yes.
This
And
moment changed Savvy's life.
pretty much, I mean, I'm super into that band, and not just that moment, but just like I said, he had me in his room, press play on Jimi Hendrix, and played Purple Haze. I had never heard it before. I
Oh,
was in high
nice.
school. Again, he did the same thing with Max Roach. I didn't fucking know jazz from ass from my elbow, like at all. Like I wouldn't have known what that was even, or how to even, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's super, super important. I don't know if we have that so much even anymore I'm sure we have kids trading playlists.
Sure.
That's great. That's fine, but do we have like just, oh, my friend is really into this and hipped me